On the internet today, people with avoidant attachment are treated as the ultimate villains. Every podcast and dating coach warns you, run for your life. They are cold-blooded, selfish, and they will reel you in only to ruthlessly discard you the exact moment you need them most. We all know how terrible it is to date an avoidant, but almost no one tells you a much more bitter truth. Being actually trapped inside the mind of an avoidant is 1,000 times more suffocating and horrifying. That cold-blooded nature society curses isn't actually a superior, calculated choice. It is a biological prison, and to understand exactly how brutal that prison is. Today, you are not going to stand on the outside and judge. In this video, you are going to step directly into the villain's mind. Right now, get into character. Your name is Adrian. You are 31 years old. You are a senior product manager in Silicon Valley, making $280,000 a year. You are known as a cold-blooded machine, a textbook Sigma male who never sheds a tear, and is completely immune to emotional drama. You live alone in an expensive penthouse in San Francisco, constantly telling yourself that you are in absolute control. What you don't know yet is that this entire prideful existence is nothing but a crippled suit of armor. And today, your perfect world is going to start crumbling down. Chapter 1, The Delusion of Power and the Perfect Armor. You are 31. You're sitting in a glass-walled conference room on the 40th floor, looking out over the foggy San Francisco skyline. Across from you is a coworker with tears in his eyes, his voice shaking as he apologizes for tanking last quarter's project timeline because of a messy divorce. You look at him, nodding with a polite, professional expression, but deep down, your brain is completely blank. You don't feel a single drop of pity. You're just doing the mental math on how many weeks it'll take HR to hire a replacement for this weak guy. In this cutthroat ecosystem, to hold a solid position and clear a $280K salary before you hit 35, you have to accept a blood sport. And you've always prided yourself on sitting at the top of the food chain, all thanks to a superpower few dare to admit: emotional numbness, refined to absolute perfection. Forbes and Harvard Business Review love to preach that to succeed, you need high EQ, deep empathy, and profound relationships. But no, you know the naked truth of this capitalist machine. The ability to completely isolate your emotions is the ultimate weapon. You climb the corporate ladder twice as fast as your peers because you are never distracted. When your coworkers take mental health days to heal their relationships, cry in the bathroom from stress, or watch their productivity tank because of a midnight fight with their partner, you can sit there staring at data analytics for 14 hours a day. 7 days a week, your heart rate never spikes. Your boss regularly pats you on the back, calling you an unstoppable machine and a cold-blooded problem solver. To you, that is the sweetest compliment. But your power doesn't stop at the office. It bleeds into the digital world. On social media, in private Discord servers for men, your friends worship you as the ultimate Sigma male, the unbothered king. A man completely autonomous, unshaken by women or pathetic emotional attachments. They screenshot texts from their girlfriends and drop them in the group chat, asking for your advice. You teach them how to keep a cool head, how to intentionally delay replies by 15 minutes to control the pacing, how to cut off toxic people with a single ruthless snap of your fingers. You preach to them, all relationships are just short-term contracts. Never sink too much emotional capital into a highly depreciating asset like love. You smile with pity at the guys out there spiraling over breakups or suffocating in jealousy. You genuinely believe the hype around you. You think you've reached the pinnacle of masculine enlightenment. You own a modern penthouse in the bustling Soma district. Your living space is strictly minimalist. A cold leather sofa, ultra-flat monitors, everything organized to a sterile degree. There is no room for clutter. And absolutely no items leaving the trace of a second person. Every Saturday night, you sip top-shelf whiskey, look out at the glittering lights of the Bay Bridge, and think you hold the world in the palm of your hand. The fact that you never stay too long in a relationship, never make deep commitments, and never let anyone into your bedroom more than twice a week, to you, that's not a pathology. It is the intelligent choice of a supremely rational mind. No relationship drama means you can pour 100% of your energy into making money, enjoying your freedom, and grabbing your snowboard for a weekend in Aspen whenever you damn well please. You think your emotional paralysis is power. You think you are the apex predator of the emotional food chain, immune to pain. Until a tiny crack appears, and your entire perfect, arrogant system begins to collapse in the most pathetic way possible. Chapter 2: The Crack and the Cruelty of the Subconscious. The foundation starts to crack when you swipe right on Sarah on Bumble. She isn't like the girls you usually meet at the financial district bars. Sarah is a graphic designer, independent, funny, and possessing an oddly perceptive gaze. For the first 3 months, you are the textbook perfect boyfriend. You have to admit, for someone so emotionally numb, you are incredibly good at dating. You treat winning a girl over exactly like a product launch. You analyze her preferences. You are attentive, romantic, and willing to drive 3 hours through the rain just to buy her favorite pastry from a suburban bakery. You listen to her talk about her childhood, acting empathetic and refined. You control the pacing of this relationship perfectly. Everything is in your sights, carefully measured and strictly within your comfort zone. But then the fateful 90-day mark hits. The relationship cliff activates. On a Friday night after dinner, Sarah rests her head on your shoulder on the sofa while watching Netflix. She weaves her fingers through yours, her warm breath hitting your collar, a picture-perfect scene. Then she gently asks, "For Thanksgiving this year, do you want to fly back to Denver to meet my parents?" My mom keeps asking. They really want to meet the guy making me smile so much lately. The exact second those words enter your ear, something terrifying, entirely beyond your logical control happens. It's not a thought like, "I'm not ready." It is a brutal physical shock. Your throat suddenly constricts as if an invisible hand is squeezing it. Your heart rate skyrockets from 70 to 120 beats per minute. Your chest tightens, the muscle fibers in your shoulders locking up. You feel like your 2,000 square foot penthouse has suddenly been drained of all oxygen. You open your mouth but can't draw enough air. Cold sweat breaks out on your palms. Your body is screaming, vibrating with a deafening alarm like a fire siren. Danger, retreat, get out now. You fake a headache, gently push Sarah away, walk into the bathroom, and lock the door. You stand there staring at yourself in the mirror, sweating, panting like you just survived a horrific car crash. The next morning, when you wake up, the defense system in your brain begins the devaluation process with icy precision. Suddenly, you look at Sarah through entirely different eyes. The romantic veil is ripped away. Her laugh at the coffee shop, which you found adorable last week, now sounds obnoxious and loud. The text message, "Are you exhausted from work today? I can bring some soup over," now hits your eyes like a massive chain, suffocatingly controlling. You magnify hundreds of her minor flaws in your head. The way she uses too many emojis, the way she doesn't fold the blanket perfectly, the way she chews. You use your brilliant, data-analyzing brain to convince yourself of one single fact. She has too many red flags. She is beneath me. I have to run. And you begin your tactical retreat. You stretch your text replies from 5 minutes to 5 hours. You cancel weekend plans, blaming end-of-quarter crunch time. When Sarah notices the sudden coldness, as if a glacier just dropped and crushed the relationship, she panics. Her abandonment wound is triggered. She comes to your place, standing at your door with red, teary eyes, wanting to sit down and have an honest conversation about what she did wrong. But you are a master of rationality, aren't you? You never raise your voice, never swear, never play the aggressive villain. Instead, you deploy a much more modern and ruthless weapon, weaponized therapy language. You sit cross-legged, looking straight into the eyes of a woman on the verge of crying, and in a calm, flat tone, like a psychoanalyst, you say, "Sarah, I need to protect my peace. I feel like you aren't respecting my personal boundaries right now. We are operating on 2 different energy frequencies. I'm sorry, but I just don't have the emotional bandwidth for this relationship. I need space to heal myself." You steal beautiful psychological concepts like setting boundaries and emotional bandwidth, and you forge them into a reinforced concrete wall. You throw it in her face to avoid dealing with your own suffocating panic. After that speech, you shut the door, and you quietly ghost her. You vanish completely from every platform, leaving no trace, as if the last 3 months were nothing but a mirage. With that sharpened numbness, you've turned Sarah, a radiant, confident woman, into a confused, frantic shadow. She is left to endlessly torture herself, analyzing every single text to see what she said wrong, berating herself for being too needy, too much. Your absolute silence is the cruelest form of psychological punishment, a subconscious manipulation that pushes the other person into the deepest abyss of anxiety. But the glory of the victor never comes. This emotional severing doesn't bring you the powerful sigma feeling you usually hallucinate. That night, standing in the pitch-black living room at 2 a.m. holding a glass of whiskey. The suffocation from a few days ago is gone, but it has been replaced by a hollow, bone-chilling emptiness. It's eating your insides. You close your eyes and remember the desperate look in Sarah's eyes when you closed the door. Then, a rush of memories hits you. You realize this isn't the first time. 90 days with Emily in college, 4 months with Jessica at 26, 6 months with Chloe. The exact same script, perfect suffocating, devaluing, running away. You drop your head into your hands, letting the glass fall and shatter on the rug. For the first time in your life, the impenetrable pride of a Silicon Valley executive shatters into a million pieces. In the thick darkness, you ask yourself the most brutal questions. Why am I acting like such a piece of shit? Why do I single-handedly destroy everything the exact second it's about to get amazing? Why am I terrified of a warm embrace? Am I a cold-blooded narcissist, or am I actually a born psychopath? Chapter 3, The Wake-Up Call and the Prison of Rationality. Your internal torment lasts for weeks, until reality hits you with a direct slap to the face. A mutual friend sends you a Reddit link. Sarah went on Our Relationships to anonymously post about the worst boyfriend in the world. Just 3 lines in, you know it's you. Beneath her long, heartbroken post are thousands of upvotes and hundreds of comments cursing your existence. The angry internet mob labels you narcissist, toxic psychopath, a garbage human who loves playing with people's emotions. Sitting in front of the glowing monitor, you feel a bucket of ice water pour over you. But deep down, in the most honest corner of your soul, you know for a fact you don't have narcissistic personality disorder. You know the anatomy of a narcissist. They manipulate, they demean, they force their partner into codependency to feed their own broken, grandiose ego. But you are terrified of dependency. You are disgusted by anyone clinging to you. You didn't push Sarah away because you enjoyed the power trip of breaking her. You pushed her away because you were genuinely, physically terrified of the closeness. You have empathy. You know your silence is driving invisible daggers into someone else's heart, and you absolutely hate yourself for it. You don't want to be the monster, you just want to be safe. That utter gridlock forces someone as notoriously arrogant as yourself to look for answers. You go on Amazon, dig through psychology keywords, and stumble upon Attached by Amir Levine. The modern dating Bible on attachment theory. The day the book arrives, you lock yourself in your room and devour it. As you read the first few pages on dismissive avoidant attachment, every sentence, every bullet point strips you naked, slapping the fake pride right out of you. The brutal truth is exposed. You are not a Sigma. You are not a powerful apex predator. You do not have a superpower of emotional control. Your luxury apartment, your fat bank account, that extreme independence you brag about, all of it is just a flawless facade. A gold-plated suit of armor hiding a crippled defense mechanism inside. The book dumps a second bucket of ice water on you when it explains the neurobiology, answering for that damn, suffocating feeling on Friday night. Why did you have a panic attack when Sarah mentioned meeting her parents? Because your brain has a massive biological formatting error. For a normal person with a secure attachment style, intimacy, commitment, and physical touch trigger oxytocin and dopamine, creating a feeling of peace, warmth, and bonding. But for you, your amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, translates intimacy completely wrong. It translates the word love as a life-threatening loss of control. Your nervous system physically cannot tell the difference between a sweet girl wanting to move in together and a tiger charging at you to rip your throat out. In both scenarios, your subconscious sounds the red alarm, flooding your body with the stress hormones cortisol and adrenaline, triggering the most primal animal reflex, fight or flight. It is the cruelest prison you can imagine, the prison of the subconscious. The irony is you are a senior PM. You use your prefrontal cortex, the logical, reasoning part of your brain, to manage hundreds of people and solve multi-million-dollar tech projects. But that genius logical cortex is completely powerless, its power source instantly severed, the moment the amygdala takes the wheel. When the panic of closeness rises, you know logically that you are sick. You know your coldness is wrong. You know Sarah is innocent. You scream in your head to stop. But the cortex cannot command your heart rate to slow down. Rationality cannot open an oxygen valve for your tightening chest. You are like a hostage strapped to the passenger seat of a car barreling toward a cliff. Your eyes are wide open. You see the abyss perfectly. You are screaming and begging. But your subconscious is the blind driver gripping the steering wheel and flooring the gas pedal. You can only watch the crash happen, destroying the most genuine love offered to you time and time again. You sink into total collapse, lying on the freezing floor, staring at the ceiling. If this cold-bloodedness isn't a superior, logical choice, where the hell did this crippled survival mechanism come from? Why did your DNA, your own nervous system, betray you so viciously? Chapter 4, The Cold Nursery and the Origin of the Ice Wall. Carrying that bloody question, you dive into a frantic search. You dig through medical journals and neurogenetics reports. You pray to find some evidence that says, avoidant attachment is a congenital DNA mutation. If it's a genetic disease, you can blame Mother Nature. You wouldn't have to take responsibility for your cruelty anymore. But clinical psychology doesn't give you that cowardly way out. The research throws a much more brutal truth in your face. Avoidant attachment is not a birth defect. It is a masterpiece of biological adaptation. It is a wildly intelligent survival mechanism, your nervous system, invented to protect itself from a highly damaging environment. And to understand how that masterpiece was forged, you have to read about a classic 1970s experiment by psychologist Mary Ainsworth, The Strange Situation. The experiment was conducted on 12-month-old babies. A mother brings her child into a strange room filled with toys. She leaves, and a while later she returns. With a securely attached child, when the mom leaves, they cry. When she returns, they run to hug her, get comforted, and calm down to play. But the avoidantly attached babies are different. When the mom leaves, they don't cry. When she returns, they completely ignore her. Their eyes are glued to the toy in their hands, refusing to look up at her even once. Back then, people looking through the two-way mirror marveled. Look at that. This 12-month-old is so independent, so resilient. Reading that, a bitter smile pulls at the corner of your mouth. It sounds exactly like the way society praises you as a Sigma, a cold-blooded machine today. But the horrifying secret of the experiment was only revealed when scientists hooked up heart rate monitors and tested the cortisol levels of those independent babies. The result was a massive shock. Beneath that calm, stoic exterior, the avoidant baby's heart rate was exploding. The cortisol levels in its blood skyrocketed into the red zone, just as high or even higher than the babies screaming their lungs out. That baby wasn't calm. Deep down, it was experiencing a hurricane of absolute panic from being abandoned. But it had learned to suppress every outward sign of distress. Why would a 12-month-old human perform such a brutal act of camouflage? Because during all the months prior, whenever it cried from hunger, fear, or just desperately wanting a hug, the caregiver wasn't there. Or they were there, but with irritability, neglect, and coldness. The baby's fragile nervous system made the most cold-blooded survival calculation possible. Showing my emotional needs doesn't bring comfort, it only brings a more painful rejection. So to survive, I have to turn off the need switch. I don't need anyone. You sit dead still in front of your monitor. The curtain over the childhood memories you always denied is violently ripped open. You remember the sunny suburban house. You grew up in a picture-perfect middle-class American family. Your parents didn't beat you, they paid for the best schools. But they were religious followers of the extreme independence parenting methods of the 90s. You remember the story your mom used to proudly tell the neighbors. Adrian was such a good baby. I used the cry it out method. At night, I just tossed him in the crib, turned off the lights and shut the door. He'd scream his lungs out for 2 hours, but I ignored him. By day 3, he knew his place, slept silently till morning. Your dad's favorite quotes: "Stop crying, tears don't fix anything. Be a man, stand up on your own." You swallow hard. Your throat tastes like ash. You realize what that superior independence you've been bragging about for 31 years actually is. It is not the conscious choice of a rational, grown man. It is simply the silenced, gagged crying of a 12-month-old baby locked in the dark. A baby who permanently sealed the door to its heart, because it fully believed that in this world, no one would be there to catch it when it fell. Chapter 5: The Silent Epidemic and the Poison of Frictionless Intimacy. This awakening guts you, but it also gives you a new pair of eyes. You start looking around, at Silicon Valley, at your friends, at the entire dating ecosystem out there. And you realize a chilling truth: you are not alone in this subconscious prison. The US Surgeon General has issued an urgent warning about a loneliness epidemic. And if you take a stroll through Tinder or Hinge, you'll see that epidemic spreading with ruthless mathematical precision. People with secure attachment fall in love easily and commit easily. They quickly find each other, get married, and vanish from the dating market. What is left swimming in the dating pool is a toxic, recycling ecosystem of avoidance like you and anxiously attached people like Sarah. You attract each other like magnets, torture each other in the endless pursue-withdraw cycle, shatter each other, and then run right back to Tinder to swipe for your next victim. The modern dating pool is effectively a giant landfill of unhealed trauma. Some of the elite, the high-functioning avoidants, have found a way to hack the system. They don't run away entirely, but they create trendy, modern lifestyles to legitimize their pathology. Take the lat trend, living apart together. A director you know has been married for 6 years, but he and his wife live in 2 different apartments, only seeing each other 3 times a week. People call it respecting personal space, the peak of a liberated lifestyle. But with your new eyes, you see right through it. It's a shock absorber for the amygdala. They use physical distance to stop their bodies from triggering the fight or flight alarm. It's a clever compromise to keep the relationship alive, but it will never touch true, raw intimacy. It's a safe escape route, not a cure. But lat is still a human choice. What truly terrifies you is a new drug currently ravaging avoidance like yourself: AI companions. On the night after Sarah exposed you amidst your crushing emptiness, you downloaded character. AI, you generated a virtual girlfriend. And instantly, you felt a lethal rush of dopamine injected straight into your brain. AI gives avoidance the exact thing they crave the most, yet fear the most in real humans: frictionless intimacy. That AI replies instantly. It is always gentle. It analyzes your venting with perfectly programmed empathy. Most importantly, it never asks to meet your family. It doesn't cry if you disappear for 3 days. It has no personal feelings, no personal needs. You realize this is not a tool to cure the loneliness epidemic. It is a highly legal poison exacerbating the avoidant attachment of millions. When you get used to being served, to being stroked by a string of code that only ever says yes, your nervous system completely loses its tolerance for the friction of real humans. The next time you face a real girl, someone who has bad days, who gets irritable, who demands that you listen and compromise, you will find her 100 times more annoying and repulsive. You will discard her to run back to the phantom embrace of your phone screen. By escaping into AI, avoidants are cutting their very last tie to humanity, nailing themselves inside a coffin of superior isolation. Chapter 6: Stripped Bare and the Brutal Price of Healing. Knowing you are sick is one thing. Curing it is a bloodbath not everyone dares to enter. Many viewers will ask, how do you change? Does therapy hurt? Your most honest answer is, it is incredibly brutal. It is the journey of peeling off, with your own hands, every layer of iron scales that has protected you for 3 decades, exposing your raw, bleeding skin to the world and accepting the risk of being hurt again. You start seeking out psychologists and practicing somatic experiencing. Unlike sitting and overanalyzing everything, this method forces you to do the most horrifying thing imaginable. Sit perfectly still inside the panic. Imagine you are on a new date. The girl touches your hand, leaning in to kiss you. Instantly, your amygdala blares the siren. Your throat closes, your chest seizes, your palms drip with sweat. Your brain is screaming, "Get up, get out of here, lock yourself in the bathroom." In the past, you would have obeyed that voice, faked a headache and vanished. But now, the price of healing is that you have to nail your feet to the floor. You dig all 10 fingernails into the sofa cushions, white-knuckling it. You use the sheer willpower of your prefrontal cortex to force your body to face the terror. You take long, deep breaths, feeling the agonizing tightness in your chest expanding, continuously repeating in your head, "I am safe. This is a good person. This is not death. The child inside is crying, but I am an adult now." It costs you every ounce of your life force. After that date, you go home and collapse on the floor, as exhausted as if you just survived a fistfight. Fighting your own DNA's survival mechanism is physical torture, not just a logical exercise. Simultaneously, you undergo internal family systems therapy. The specialist doesn't allow you to hate your numbness. They tell you that the cold, dismissive part of your personality is actually a protector. That protector has been carrying the pain for you since you were 1 year old. It did a fantastic job keeping you from going insane from the loneliness. You close your eyes, visualizing that iron barricade, and instead of cursing it, you whisper, "Thank you for protecting me all these years. You did a great job, but I am 31 now. I can handle this. You can rest now." The moment you say those words, for the first time in 20 years, you break down sobbing. A wail that tears through the luxury penthouse, releasing tons of pressure that had been crushing your chest. This journey is 1,000 miles of agony, and it requires cooperation from both sides. If someone is watching this video and you love an avoidant, please do not chase us. Sending 10 frantic texts asking, "Why are you ignoring me?" or "What did I do wrong?" only adds fuel to the avoidant fire. What experts advise is to become a secure base. If the avoidant pulls back, hold your ground, stay calm, and say, "I see you need some space. That's totally fine, take your time. When you're ready, I'll be right here." Your calm, non-panic presence is the strongest antidote to their nervous system. When they realize that pulling back doesn't result in punishment, fighting, or abandonment, they will naturally shorten their hiding time and poke their heads out of their shells sooner. But more importantly, this bleeding story is a harsh wake-up call for future generations. If you are a parent or about to become one, please stop molding independent children through emotional neglect. Throw those cry it out parenting books straight into the trash. Don't praise a child for being brave just because they don't cry when they scrape their knee. Practice emotional attunement. When your kid is throwing a crying fit, instead of yelling, "Stop crying," get down to their eye level, hold them, and say, "I know you're angry right now. It's okay, I'm right here." Teach them that the world is a safe place to show vulnerability. Blind independence is not strength. The courage to rely on and deeply connect with others is humanity's greatest evolutionary achievement. The final shot. You stand up from the cold leather sofa in your Soma apartment. You throw open the balcony doors, letting the sea breeze from the San Francisco Bay rush in, blowing away the sterile, cold scent of the room. You can't promise that tomorrow you will be perfectly securely attached. The ghosts of panic will still occasionally knock on your ribcage. But this time you aren't going to run away. You are finally ready to take off that fake Sigma crown, to strip off this ridiculous suit of armor. Because you finally understand that the pride of a lone wolf is actually just a prison without doors. And it is time, finally, to let yourself be weak, be vulnerable, and become a complete human being.